Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and welcome to the mid-season check-in. A bit of a welfare check in today's episode, or in today's video I should say, on the channel. We are at the halfway point of season 2025. We are in the bye week for North Melbourne, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to all just recoup, touch base, see how we're all feeling, and get ready for a very, very big second half of season 2025. Today is Friday, the 30th of May. I have not filmed a video since this time last week. I was with Dylan. We were at the park and we had a bit of a touch base about how we were feeling around the mid-season draft, how we were feeling about the new additions to the North Melbourne lineup, both talent that had been traded in and talent that had been drafted in. So we had a bit of a touch base and a bit of a check-in, and now I wanted to take the opportunity to do so myself. The mid-season draft was earlier this week, and we'll touch on the players that we've brought in, and then just kind of have a bit of a chat through about how I'm feeling about where North's sitting at the halfway mark of season 2025. I want to first and foremost say thank you so much to all of you. The first half of this season has been crazy from a personal perspective, with the growth of Kanga TV just growing like wildfire, and the amount of people I've met at the games and the people that reach out to me on socials and on YouTube, and I've even met some of you like in day-to-day life. It's crazy to see how this has taken off, and while I don't think that on field the club has really met the expectation I probably had of us going into this season so far, the positive response and feedback for the channel and everything we're trying to do here and trying to create a little community has been overwhelmingly positive and supportive. So without you guys, there would be no Kanga TV. So I can't start this video without thanking you all enough for your ongoing love and support, kind words on social, kind words at the games, those I even meet randomly in life. It's quite amazing and quite mind-blowing how quickly it has grown. I think I still maybe underestimate a little bit how much it has grown and how many people do know about the channel and what's going on here, and I hope that I can keep providing you all with some great North Melbourne content. We obviously have differing opinions about different things along the way, and that's okay, but the level of respect that these discussions have been met with has been amazing, and we've had some great chats, and I've learnt so much that I never thought I would have heading into this season. So I just wanted to thank you all so much. Before we dive more into season 2025 as a whole, I wanted to quickly touch on the mid-season draft. North had 2 picks in hand heading into Wednesday night's draft, pick 2 and pick 10. With pick 2, we selected Zach Banch, the small forward from Werribee, and then with pick 10, we picked up Cooper Trembath, one of our own, has played a couple of games for the North VFL. I actually believe it's only 2 games, so it's incredible that he was so impressive in those couple of games that we decided to take a punt. But I think if there was ever a time to take a punt on a player like that, the mid-season draft is definitely that opportunity. We opted not to go for Archer May. It was a name that was floated around, and we were quite closely linked to, apparently, for most of the lead up to the mid-season draft. So for us to go with these 2 picks, I think they are both players who we may see at some point before the end of the season, particularly Zach Banch. He's definitely made a big impression at VFL level, which has been really, really impressive. There was a lot of talk around taking a small forward. I actually don't dislike that we've done it. We do have a lot of small forwards on our list at the moment, but I still feel like it is a big gap in our side. Jacob Constanti has played every game, and he's definitely had a good start to season 2025. I really like the pressure that he adds to our forward line, but potentially doesn't contribute enough on the scoreboard, which is definitely another element that you would like to see. And I guess alongside Paul Curtis, who can play that mid to small role, we don't really have anybody else that's locked in that role just as yet. Robert Hanson Jr., he's been in and out of the side to start the year. Geordie Payne hasn't played. Cooper Harvey's not playing. River Stevens hasn't played yet. So we probably do have a bit of a need and a bit of a gap for an electric small forward. And we opted not to take Nick Watson a couple of years back in the national draft. And I think that while Constanti has had a really good year, he could either A, have some help, or B, still be improved upon. And I think that is the reality of being 17th on the ladder is that you do still need to look to improve the talent that you've got on your list, and that's still a spot I don't think we have any elite talent in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him, and hopefully at AFL level at some stage. Cooper Trembath is the other one. He is a swingman. He is a key position player. He can play forward. He can play back. Potentially a replacement for Jack Darling in years to come. There is also an opportunity for him down back wherever he can really play his best footy. I still also think that there are spots both long-term in the forward line and in the back line that are up for grabs. So I think there's definitely potential for him as well. The mid-season draft is definitely a mixed bag. We haven't had the best luck in the mid-season draft, but other clubs absolutely have. There's been some gems that have been unearthed from the mid-season draft, and we do have some serviceable players on our list who have played at AFL level. Callan Dawson is one of them. Robert Hanson Jr., who I mentioned before, is another. Geordie Payne will hopefully make his debut at some point before the end of the season, and he could turn into a player. Bryn Teakle was great last year, came in and filled that need that we had for a second tall forward just about immediately, and played every game in the second half of the season once he did make his debut. So there's definitely opportunity. Let's just hope that these guys can seize the opportunity that they're given, and hopefully one, if not both of them, turn into really solid long-term prospects for North Melbourne. Because I do think that while the list clearly is talented and they clearly do have so many players with great opportunity and great potential on the list, it's trying to turn potential into genuine proof that they're going to be good players. And I think that's where I kind of want to start leading this conversation now, and coming back to that small forward thing. How many of those small forwards are actually playing regular senior footy, and how many of them are we holding hope on potential and what they can be rather than what they're actually showcasing on a week-to-week basis? Because I think a lot of where our problem is signing guys on potential and signing guys on what they should be able to deliver rather than what they do deliver on a week-to-week basis. That was my biggest fear with Cam Zurhaar at the end of last year, signed this big 5-year deal, and heading into season 2024, I was very vocal and I said that I think that we do need to prove that North Melbourne does have a bright future and that we want him to be part of it, but I also felt like he equally had to return the favour, and I felt like he had to be as proactive in showing us why he deserved that big 5-year deal. And he's definitely been a big player for me up until this point of the season that I've been very, very impressed with. A bit of a slower start. He did impact the scoreboard straight away from round 1, but the way he's really stepped up in the last 4 weeks, definitely in the absence of Paul Curtis, but even last weekend against Collingwood as well, I think he's been so dangerous. And that was a big thing with bringing Jack Darling into this side, is being able to really level out the defensive opposition structure and really being able to allow Cam Zurhaar a little bit more free reign, because the second best key defender has to now go to Jack Darling, just given how physically imposing he is. And we know JD has come so close to breaking games open a few times this season so far, and he has been able to get on top of some of the better defenders as well. So we still know that he isn't what he was 5 years ago, but the physicality and the footy smarts never leave you. So he's been a great asset for Cam Zurhaar's game. Obviously, Paul Curtis, he was in All-Australian form before he was suspended, but even then, Cam Zurhaar's still been able to step up. I really, really like the work that he's been putting in. And in front of goal, I mean, he's been kicking bags of, 2, 3, 4, even 5 goals at one stage there as well. So I've definitely enjoyed his season so far. And he, for me, has been a massive surprise packet, a real pleasant surprise. And I've really enjoyed what he's brought to the table. Again, Paul Curtis, not much more can be said than already been said about him. He was a little bit quieter on return against Collingwood, but up until the point he was suspended, he was in All-Australian form. So too was Nick Larkey, but Nick Larkey, unfortunately, has just kind of gone missing, and that has been a bigger problem than I think we've been willing to speak about because of the form of Darling or because of the form of Zurhaar. The form or the MIA status of Nick Larkey maybe has been downplayed a little bit, but I think about those games in the last month and had sort of been able to actually really present himself and really be able to have an impact on that game, maybe then some of those games would have been won. And we didn't win those games, and we are sitting here at the bye, 2 wins and a draw, with a few winnable games to come, no doubt, but I can't help but feel somewhat underwhelmed by where we're sitting so far this season. And it's not form, because I do think our form has been really good at key parts of the season and for big portions of game. And we're definitely hanging into games a lot longer than we might have 12 months ago. But when you think about the form in this half of the season compared to the second half of last season, I think the second half of last season was definitely better. And I think that's probably where we would prefer to be edging towards. We had 3 wins. We were up and about. Our percentage was really strong as well. LDU's form in the second half of last season was unbelievable. He's been good, but he hasn't been that explosive best that we were hoping for. She's obviously a quiet season. George has been unreal, but then there are games where he just doesn't get his hands on the footy enough. And Luke Parker, who's a senior addition and a new addition into that midfield, has been one of our most consistent performers throughout the year. So it's obvious there's still gaps and there's obviously still a way to go. And I just really hope we can find a way to pick up stride in the second half of the season and really start to translate the promise into wins, because I was impressed against Port. I was impressed against Essendon. I was impressed against Brisbane. I was impressed for a big portion of that Collingwood game, but it's still not enough for me. And I said this, I think it was after the Essendon game. I said that I don't like that I'm being made to feel like it's wrong to be dissatisfied with a loss. I hope that makes sense, but promise and potential is never a trade-off for 4 points. And because we have been down the bottom of the ladder for so long, I feel like we're potentially excusing the results and the final scores with the way the games are playing out. You know, heading into that Brisbane game, no one would have given us a chance. Heading into that Collingwood game, they were still the superior team despite the long list of outs and late outs that Collingwood had. Heading into that Port game, given our history, we probably were given no chance there. And the way those games played out, we were brave and it was a gallant effort, and we were able to really take it up to all 3 sides for big portions of those games, but we weren't able to get the win. And that's still a problem for me. No matter how much promise and how nice it is to see a competitive North Melbourne outfit taking a field every week. And of course I would take that every day of the week over the smackings that we have had in the past and over the past few seasons by some of those teams mentioned. I'm still not satisfied. I still want more. And I think that until we all get to that shift, the playing group and the club included, we're not really ever going to see much change, are we? For Jai Simpkin to say after the Collingwood game that they just wanted it more. Why should they want it more? Like, we need to be as hungry, if not hungrier, to prove to the competition that we've arrived. We struggle still with any expectation whenever we're in a position where it looks like it's going to happen for us and it looks like we could finally secure a win. We just can't take that next step up, and it's such a mental thing at this stage. And potentially in the last quarter against Collingwood last Saturday night, there was a bit of fatigue and it was a bit of an experience, sure. But we were so far in that game that we really should have found a way to try and grind it out. And we just couldn't. And I don't want to think that we couldn't do it because we didn't want to as much as Collingwood did. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy talk from Jai. And someone left a comment on the review I did of that game saying that, like, that shouldn't have been a comment that was made. And I completely agree with that. And I love Jai. And I know he's had a really difficult few weeks. And I think the way that the club has been able to support him through the passing of his nan and through Sir Doug Nicholls' round, he's been really celebrated. And I think we should, because I think he's an amazing asset to this side. But you've got to set a standard better than the one that was set in that post-match interview after the Collingwood game. You've got to set a standard of, we're not happy with where we're at still. Yes, it's important to acknowledge improvement, and I'm not dismissing that at all. But I don't think that the improvement and the positivity and the potential shown is a trade-off or should be accepted as satisfactory in replacement for winning games, because we should have won at least 1 or 2 more games between the Brisbane game, the Bulldogs game potentially in round 1, the Port game, the Essendon game, and we definitely should not have lost the Collingwood game by 45 points. Like, no way. Just no way. And we just can't seem to find a way to break through and capitalise on dominance in game, particularly early on, and then go out and get things done that we should be getting done. And you just sit here and wonder, are we complacent for the result because of how bad we've been for so long? But that's the reality of where we're sitting right now, whether we like it or not. For the 6th straight season, we have entered the middle of the year. We've entered the bye in the bottom 2. It's frightening and it's really disappointing. And I really hope that we can look at the second half of the year and look at some of the opportunities that we have and just sort of start to take them by the horns, because heading into that Collingwood game, I was so confident because of how we had performed against Richmond. And it wasn't even the performance, it was more the result. Like, I really felt like, okay, we've done it. We've overcome that hurdle of winning the game. Now let's just go on and steamroll the Pies. And on paper, there was definitely an opportunity to do so. And we just couldn't find a way to do it. So there's a lot of challenges that face us in the second half of the year. There are definitely some sides that are vulnerable that we might be able to beat, and I really hope that we do. And the other thing we can start to look at is the playing group, because we do have a relatively healthy list, which is a great position to be in. But it also allows us to figure out who's genuine depth in this side and who just won't make it at AFL level, and start to assess the players on a case-by-case basis as well, because we lose 2 rookie spots after this season. So it's an extra couple of players who unfortunately we'll have to let go of, and it's a difficult thing to do. I hate that time of year, but as a club, we need to think about how we move forward and how we start moving forward successfully, because the fans are only going to hang on for so much longer. The crowds at North games this year have been so impressive, both in number and vocally. Everyone's been amazing. And I think everyone's really been enjoying the competitive nature of the games and the way we're hanging in there. It's unlike a lot of things we've seen before, which has been awesome. But now we've really got to find a way to take that next step. I understand it's only been 2 and a bit years under Clarko, with a big chunk missing in the first year, but it's got to start being enough time for us to start winning something. I'm not asking us to win the premiership next year. It would be awesome. But that tangible improvement still, for me, needs to be seen. Because I was looking back on a few of the videos I made earlier this year. The one in particular, the first reaction video against the D's. And the pure joy on my face after that game, in what I thought would be the changing of the guard, and I really thought the new North Melbourne had arrived. Somewhat fell by the wayside, I think, if you're my honest opinion about that. So it's not to say there isn't plenty to like on an individual playing level, on a team playing level, on the way the games are flowing, on our competitiveness, on the crowds that are coming week in, week out, on the fixture in the second half of the season. Another Thursday night game we've secured, which is awesome. We have a couple Saturday night games as well. We just have to now take all the opportunities we've got and make the most of this second half of the season, because this season is flying by. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I feel like it's flying by. And I would hate for it to just pass us by without us making a dent on the competition for another season. Anyway, you guys, that's where I wanted to leave the video. I really just wanted to sit down, check in, let you know how I'm feeling, get it all off my chest. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about North season so far in 2025, individuals you like, team things you like, you don't like. Let's have a chat about it. Like I said, if it wasn't for you guys, there would be no Kanga TV. So I do try and get back to as many comments as I can, and hopefully we can have a really nice discussion about North Melbourne so far this season. They're back to regular programming next week as we look over to WA, and we have our first game in our new home away from home in Bunbury. I look forward to looking ahead to that game, previewing all the action with you guys here on the channel. We've got a big second half of the year coming up, so let's all strap in, and as long as we have each other to ride the roller coaster that is North Melbourne, I'm sure we'll be fine. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and a wonderful rest of your bye weekend, and however you choose to use up your spare time. I hope it's fantastic, and I will see you all very soon. Go Roos.